Tell me if you're seeing it, you're hearing it. Let me know if I'm clueless, because I'm not good on a computer either, Patricia. It says I am. Anybody? Can you guys hear me? This will really suck. Oh, wait, let's see. Okay, can you guys see me now? I'm not good at this either, Patricia. Cool, okay. Hi, Wendy, how are you? Okay, good. All right, so we got Patricia and Wendy and Rockstar, and Den was here right off the bat. So this could be kind of cool, couldn't it? I forgot the reason you couldn't hear me before at 4, and I'm sorry for being late, was that I forgot to push the record button. So this is a process for me. And I have to pick up a higher chair too to get me in the middle, but we'll work on these things. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so you know, I don't know where you guys want to go. I'm counting on you to lead me on these live streams, kind of like a Q&A and stuff. Just vent your feelings, whatever it is. And we'll go from there. I had it set up. I had the set up in the pool for the Clean Living Lab channel. I'm going to do something on basils, the different basils, because I'm making my anti-inflammatory garden, and I'm just planting the seeds. And I was going to do that to see if, you know, just to share it with you guys and tell you about what the various basils do, because they're all kind of different. So I was set up out there, and the sun was so bright that I decided to move it in. I couldn't read the screen or anything like that. So so that's why I'm inside. I have a little different thing. This is my dining room I'm in. And see that door over there? I made that door when I was doing glass with my ex-husband. And that was really nice. I've kept it. It's really special. He's gone now. But so what do you guys want to talk about? I don't know if you're typing. I can't see this stuff. Tell me about the Fauci drop, Den. What do you mean? I kind of read it, and you know, I didn't get a lot of zingers from it, let's say. So tell me what you mean by that. I know that for me, here was the big deal. For me, that arrest of those 2 people in the lab, just a few days ago, I've got it in a video coming out, I think tomorrow on this channel, tomorrow or maybe Sunday. We'll see how it goes. But oh, the remdesivir and the well, everybody knew it, Den, so it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it was also not approved. It's funny that you asked this, because the video that I just completed, and it's not uploaded. I have to do the, you know, setting it up and uploading it, but I've completed it and I've finished it, and it's waiting to be uploaded. And I did talk about this issue on there because of that bust of these 2 lab. The guy that runs the lab was sneaking monkeypox and other infectants into the country, and he lied to customs. So hi, Tahoe, I'm so glad to have you. Thank you. So to me, that's bigger than what the records are coming out. And the reason I say that is because something's being done. Here's the thing, and you'll hear this on the other one that's coming up on this channel, the Ex-Pharmacist. And I wanted to tell you guys right off the bat, the way I roll is sometimes I have to stop and find the best way to express something. So have patience with me. And if I put glasses on, it's because I feel like I have to close my eyes and dig a little deeper. So just bear with me. So anyway, These guys were carrying this cart and arrested. So we've got to get these people out of there. Everybody wants the technology, but what we don't realize is that when we've got people sneaking still in the highest levels of government, sneaking bioweapons in, it's a reason for cause. You know what I'm saying? To pause and say, whoa, wait a second. We're not safe yet. The technology's not safe. There's people still in power. Patricia says, I get it. We need to chat, but roll through. Yeah, I need a little help here, Patricia. But so anyway, that's the deal. These people have to get out, and we can't have any loose ends as far as these people. Right now, we're getting rid of the people that crossed the line, let's say. There's also people that are on the fence and will swing wherever the money goes or wherever the intimidation goes, or they will crumble. And that's happened to some people recently. Sadly, some people really close to Dan Willis, and they flip. And so even when we clean out our house, metaphorically speaking, we still got people that, if they're not committed to this, they will be bought. And the devil, the demon, whatever you want to call it, the deep state, we've got to crumble the establishment. And I talked on this, but in this other one, but I'm going to go a little earlier because that's what's on my mind and that's what you asked. So people, there will always be good and there will always be evil. And there will be people, and they can't exist without one another. Good has no definition unless you compare it to evil, and vice versa. So we're always going to have these people, these screwed up people that want to hurt us. But the key is their motivation is money. And the Matrix has fed them with money. That's how they got this kind of money and other things, fame, and so forth. But fortune is the big one. And yes, transition is painful, Patricia, and it's going to be painful for a whole lot of people. And you guys are more advanced than the average bear, let's say. And I know you want to be angry at people that have maybe blown you off completely and written you off and talked about you being a lunatic to other people. It's tough being an innovator. So you got to hang tight, and you have to have your integrity. That's why we lost Dan. Dan had more integrity than anybody I've ever known. So it's always a risk. And that's one of the reasons I had a real hard time about coming out on this channel, was that I've been there where people were intimidating me and threatening my family and my loved ones. And I don't ever want to go back to that place again. It was really a bad place. And so that's why I was concerned about that. But the remdesivir, here's the deal. Maybe you know, Dan, I don't know. We can always look things up, I guess, can't we? Let's look up. I've been using Gemini a bit. I don't know what you got for certain things, and I use Grok for other things. Okay, so let's see if we can find out how much did doctors receive to put a patient on remdesivir. And what you have to realize is that once a person goes on a respirator, their chances of coming off that are really slim. It happens. You've got to be really healthy. But when you go on, and another factor in going on a respirator, God forbid, I hope it never happens to you. But if you do have to go on one, the deal is the quicker you get off, the better. Because what happens is the lungs literally lose their muscle tone. You have to quit. Not you. I'm sorry, not you guys. People need to quit thinking about this body as something that they are detached from, or that everything that happens is detached from. Hi, Mac, and hi, Shelly. Shelly, hi, guys. So good to have you. So that disrupts me. So I have to think about how to handle that, and it disrupts my thoughts. So so I don't know. Let's see what we'll continue it. It'll come back if it's important, or you can remind me. So I have to do this thing. It kind of like disrupts your thought process, and my thought patterns come in a spot where I just get these thoughts coming into me, and they just happen. So anyway, so Shelly, hi Shelly. She said, I just listened to Restored Republic, a good channel. They have good and bad. They have accurate and inaccurate stuff sometimes. And they were saying that they were wanting to put the crap in our water that we drink. What do you know of this? Hearing about Dan Willis breaks my heart. Thank you. Yeah, Dan, it was a great loss. Okay, the water. I did a video on this. The water is crap. It's total crap. And they can absolutely infiltrate our water supply. And on the Clean Living Lab channel that I've started, it's another one. Subscribe to it if you don't. I use a Berkey system, and I can't move the camera around and stuff, but we filter everything. And not only for the contaminants in this nasty water that we're getting, but also for the plastics that are going through the PVC pipes and getting into our water supply and everything. So we use a gravity-fed Berkey, and it's really good. But yeah. Have I heard? No, nobody's heard. Nobody's going to tell you if they're going to contaminate the water supply. Have they? Every day, everywhere, it's contaminated. And I find it hard to believe that at some level it's accidental or lack of funds or whatever. But so would they do it? Absolutely. But here's the thing. Here's the thing on the water. And you tell me what you think. There's too many fail safes, if you know what I mean, that can stop them. You're talking about every county, at least in this country and the world when you go global, because you don't want to like kill just Americans. That's not what this is about. This is a global effort, right? So you have too many people that would have to be involved. And yeah, there's a lot. And there's a lot of people that are just clueless and sit there and do anything they're told, even though it doesn't look bad, i.e. all of the nurses and doctors and hospitals and pharmacists that went down during COVID. So people just, yeah, they just sit there, they turn the other way, they're sheep, they just follow what they're supposed to follow. So, but there's too many fail-safes. A bioweapon is the way to go. Something that's in the air that you can't stop, that transfers between people. In my opinion, that's the way they would attempt to do it. Let's see, Mac. Hi, Mac. UFO disclosure. Well, there's documents coming out. That's because you're not talking about UFO disclosure. What do you want? Do you want me to bring an ET in? I don't have a date. Nobody has a date, and if they do, they're lying to you. Okay. It's a process, Mac. I wish I could make you understand this. Disclosure has been happening since at least the 50s, and it's called soft disclosure. And that's because when people find what they're going to find out in not so long, when disclosure does happen, many are going to want to kill themselves, okay? And because they've been taught by the deep state to hate and fear the extraterrestrials, right? That's what we were programmed to do. It's happening more and more. I might see that Disclosure movie now, but it's Spielberg. So I'll bet you anything it's talking about Greys. I haven't even reviewed anything about it. But my guess is it's talking about Greys. It's got the fear narrative and all this crap. So that's what we're fighting, Mac. We're fighting a world of people that have been programmed into thinking that ETs are bad. And as I've said 1,000 times, they're not all bad and they're not all good. There's both. And I am so thankful that the good ones are on our side right now and fighting them for us. And they have defeated the bad ones. They have defeated the bad ones, but the people's minds still believe they're here and they're lurking and they're going to come down and suck your brain out or whatever the narrative is today that they're telling you. So that's the problem with UFO disclosure. There is self-disclosure every day. I wish you could see that every single day. But we're fighting lies as we've always fought, and people believe the lies more than they believe the truth. So that's the deal with that part of it. Yeah. Oh, okay, I see. Let's see if we got an answer on that, Wendy, about how much they got. Let's see. All right, here you go. The cost of procuring and administering remdesivir was set at a government wholesale price of approximately $2,340 per 5-day course. So $2,300 and roughly $3,120 for commercial payers. Of course, they always get more when it's the corporations, was bundled straight into the overall hospital baseline payout. They had to buy the drug. The hospital had to buy the drug on their own budget, blah, 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 blah. And then there were new COVID-19 treatments add-on payments to prevent hospitals from losing money on the high cost of these emerging therapies. They introduced the NC TAP program. If a hospital's total cost for an inpatient stay exceeded the standard MS drug bundle payment, the NC TAP allowed the hospital to claim an additional mitigation payment to help cover the acquisition cost of the approved treatments like remdesivir. So basically, they formed them into a pigeonhole. That's what they do, and that is also on tomorrow or this weekend's video. Let's put it that way. The way it works is a hospital, or no, this was on the last one. Hospitals have formularies. When you get remdesivir on the formulary, and that is chosen for this particular COVID-related pneumonia, these doctors don't have a choice but to pick that. Okay, so that's how it was steered into that. You must prescribe off the formulary, and if you don't, it's a big rigmarole of papers. It's got to go through the Therapeutic Review Board, which I've been on before in chemotherapy. So it's a rigmarole to not prescribe what the pharmaceutical companies contracts that the hospitals have made with them, because you have a real narrow window. If you have this particular disease or ailment or condition, they literally have a list. One, boom, boom, boom. This is the first thing you do. This is the first thing you do. And as I think it was Wendy said, as Wendy said, okay, they didn't put people on oxygen. Boom, right to the to the remdesivir and the vents. Why? Because they were getting paid extra to do that. It's a sad state, guys. I lost faith in the medical complex many decades ago at this point. But when I saw what happened with that, I thought, how many either clueless or unethical people are working within our system that are administering care to us? Because I knew right off the bat. I knew about the masks. They were bogus. That was BS. It was only going to make us sicker. The masks, that's in tomorrow, so I'll tell you about that. So here's how this works. You put a mask on, right? We have normal flora in our body every day, all over, in our gut, and they're healthy, and they're our friends. And if we keep them healthy, then they help us. And the machine is designed to work with those various bacteria in us. They're healthy ones. So when we put those masks on our face, when we put the masks, it held all of those ones that were supposed to expire on a regular basis because they multiply like fleas, right? So our normal flora multiplies, and we're supposed to expire them in the respiratory ones. When we had masks on, they were multiplying, and they were migrating because they had no place to go. So they were migrating down into the lower respiratory tract, AKA our lungs. And that's how they were causing pneumonia. And Fauci knew about it because he did a paper on it, comparing the use of masks back in a couple old pandemics. I forget which ones they are right now, but it was clear they studied 3 different pandemics. The 2 that wore masks had a much greater transmission rate, and the ones that didn't wear masks, never materialized into anything, a big problem. So it was the masks also. Yes, it was the remdesivir. It was the lack of oxygen. It was the treatment that we got, the lack of giving us drugs that were showing some kind of efficacy like ivermectin, and I forget what the other one was. But it was also the masks did more harm than people realize. Let's see, impeach the president. Now, I can't say I'm going to impeach him, Mac. You need to go back. If you would show me one video that is not AI where he says, I'm going to give you disclosure now, okay, then you got a point and I'll go on board with you. But he never said it. I've looked it up before. He never said that. You're hearing what other people said. Hi, Jeff. How you doing? Glad to see you. Okay. All I want is the technology. We know, Mac. We know. And I wish I could give it to you, sweetie. I really do, because I know how important it is and how it will change your life. I really, really do. I wish I could give it to you. And as soon as I know, I think the world's going to know, because I think we're going to go down. We're going to go into a situation just like has been predicted by QAnons. We're going to go into a lockdown situation, whether it's shutting down the government. You never know. Just look for that point. And when they're putting us in lockdown, whether it's the fights, the riots, or something happening overseas, a threat, whatever, just know that we were told we'd be put into lockdowns, and that is when disclosure will occur. Okay, and Patricia, she knows. They want to gaslight us into fear because they feed on it. The dark ones feed on our fear. It disempowers us. It makes us weak, and it destroys us. I know you have been, Mac. You've been following me for a long time, and don't think for 1 second I don't appreciate it and feel quite connected to you and your pain. Okay, let's see. So Patricia, her husband was on a respirator twice during COVID crap, in 2 different hospitals 2 months apart, and he survived. I thought you lost him at some point, Patricia. They must. How long was he on it? Because 2 months apart. Because, here's the thing, guys. Not every doctor was bad in this situation. Not every nurse was bad. They were between a rock and a hard place. They had family to support. They had bills to pay. And they were told, if you don't take this jab, if you don't do these things, you're fired. So don't think for 1 second that I'm saying every single doctor in the world was out to kill us. They weren't. They were out to survive. Okay. Some that left the field, that refused, took their lumps and sacrificed. Those were the people of integrity. So we never want to detach from our patients. Never, never, never do we want to. And they teach you bedside manner, but do they teach you heart? Do they teach you true compassion and caring? That's not something you teach somebody. That's something that you're born with, or you develop as you age in life and learn lessons. Okay, so let's see. Tahoe, hi Tahoe. Makes me so sick and sad because I felt helpless when I was told that my boyfriend, who did not have COVID, was put on a ventilator. And they told me they were just putting him on some oxygen. Now that says, I got there as, does this open up? I don't know, guys. Let me see. Can I click it? It stops off. So apparently maybe they cut your thing. Let's see. I'm still learning this, guys. Oh, I got there as fast as possible. He was on a ventilator. And I take it you lost him. And I'm so sad about that. So many people. I can't tell you. And here's the thing, guys. Listen to this crap. So we lost them during the whole COVID thing, right? But now, even people with no shot, people that didn't take the shot, are dying. Dan was a very special situation with an extremely rare, almost never recorded in a vegan like he was. And it also, so that you understand, many cancers can be stimulated by electromagnetic pulses. And I don't know if it's happening to everybody, but our food is loaded with carcinogens, just loaded. Go to the Clean Living Lab, please, the other channel that I'm doing now, because it's got a little bit of a slow start, of course, with all this stuff going down. But that's my goal, is identifying what the heck we're eating that's making us so sick, and what we're doing that, or what we can do to get out of that. So it's a little slow right now, but that's where we're going with that. So not every doctor was bad, but my heart goes out to you, Tahoe, and I know that you're suffering now. And you are a warrior. You are a warrior. So keep up the fight. Keep up the fight. There's a good prognosis. Okay, let's see. Shelly. Shelly says, I'm so ready for the med beds, aren't we all? I've learned so much from you. I appreciate that, Shelly. I really do. I had gone wrong. I had gone wrong back surgery that disabled me. It's a weird thing. I'll get into that for a second. Let me finish. I fought to walk again, and I am wonderful. However, I need the med beds to heal the rest of the damage. I understand it exactly. My mom had a really, really messed up back. And, everybody thought she was just complaining. Back things, it's kind of odd. The people around you, if you've never felt that kind of pain, you don't understand how it impacts your life and the quality of your life. And she had it, and nobody believed her. And then eventually she had this amazing surgery that built her back up, and she swore by it. It worked well. It worked maybe 10, 15 years, and it started falling apart. Titanium is what they used in it. So it worked for her. So she actually got to the point in the year or two before she died, which she was younger than she was in her 50s from that surgery. So have faith with that. And come to the Clean Living channel, and let's look at, I'm doing one now on inflammation. I'm growing an anti-inflammatory medicinal garden. You can, there's herbs and stuff for all kinds of stuff. Problem with medicine is all of the components and additives and the removal of the important alkaloids that nature has put there to use that appropriately are all removed from big pharma. I don't care what it is. I just don't care what it is. If it's processed, that's what's happened. And plus, just like food, there's contaminants of this process of putting it in and spinning it in this chemical and blah, blah, blah. You never get it all out. Never. So that's why I did this medicinal garden. I want you guys to know that there's not many diseases that I can think of where inflammation doesn't play an important causative role in the progress of the disease and the prognosis. Okay? That is basically when inflammation occurs, it's saying you have a problem and your body wants to fight that problem. And that's how autoimmune diseases occur. So because the body gets used to it, it gets in patterns, it does this practice thing and all, and it just like us. Okay, the nervous system, what do you call that? When we get into the same rut, doing the same things, again, the words escape me, but you guys know what I'm saying. It's just the path of less resistance. And we get into a habit. That's the word. Thank you. So we get into a habit. And the nervous system does too. And we need to break those habits. So your body's healing. You need to take some good inflammatory stuff. Reach out to me on the channel. We'll talk about whatever you want to do. I did a poke bowl recipe that I create, and then I ran it. I just eat it all the time, and I ran it through a couple of the AIs, and they were like, "That is really a super combination," because I have about a dozen things in it that I designed all for their medicinal effects. So you might want to look at that video. It's not too long. Okay, so we all need the med beds, and you're going to heal. I just know you are, Shelley. I know you are. All right, Wendy. Oh, let's see. We got, hi, Mary. Okay, let's see. I'm losing it. So glad, Patricia. Okay, Dan, what are your thoughts on the many new cures for cancer and the slow drip on truth of chemo? Okay, here's the deal. I'm assuming on the slow drip on truth of chemo, It's not a slow drip for me because I was trained in it. So I'm not, and I don't look at what is being disseminated in all over the internet. But what I can tell you is cures aren't the answer. Prevention is. Our food and our environment is what's giving us cancer. I don't care what anybody says. When you eat perhaps 3 dozen carcinogens a day, every day, can you expect to have cancer? The body's P53 system, because there's a system in the body that fights off these cancers. The body's P53 system is just pumping as fast as it can, and there's foods that we can eat to help boost that also. But the fact of the matter is that the amount coming in of carcinogens is so much greater than the body can handle. It's just, it never was meant to be like this. It was never envisioned to have poison sprayed on your food and herbicide poison sprayed on them and insecticides and plastics that they're put in and manufactured with. And now, of course, the changes in FDA law is they don't even have to notify or get approved by FDA to add components to your food. It's like, I was floored back that had occurred. So to me, it's about prevention and not treatment. But if you get cancer, here's the deal. Nature is not meant to be an immediate curative. It takes a really long time to work. And I don't mean decades. The key is maintenance. But chemo is quick, dirty. It will go in selectively, sometimes selectively, hopefully selectively, because that's an important quality in a chemotherapy. It wants to just get those cancer cells instead of all the cells in your body and start destroying all the other cells in your body. It has to be specific and selective. So to me, if I had cancer, I would, of course, check the stages and all this stuff. But if there was anything that had a poor prognosis, for sure, I would definitely take the chemotherapy. For me, I always use the tried and true, the old. I actually have plants growing that chemotherapy is made from the components in periwinkle. It's wild in Florida. And so I have periwinkle. I had a little bump on my nose. And I just took that leaf and smashed it up and put that bump. And it kept coming back. Put that bump and it went away. That's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is how I feel. Now, as far as your other part of it, the slow drip on chemo. My first day at Moffitt Cancer Center, well, not my first day, but we had like a 2-week orientation, the pharmacist did, that we learned about cancer specifically, like in a full-time class. So what we learned was that the chemotherapy does cause cancer. It's almost all of them are carcinogenic in their own way because they are directed and specific for those cancer cells, okay? And so it causes it, but here's my thoughts on it. If I got a cancer that's going to consume me, and once it metastasizes, man, you got to stop it before it metastasizes. But because if it gets in your lymph system, man, it's really a poor prognosis. You got to really start taking bad stuff. But the slow drip, they are carcinogenic. But my thoughts on it are bomb the shit out of it, kill that stuff now, and then heal the body. So that's just my thought. And another reason I say that it's very different. And of course, I want to clarify to say that it depends on the particular chemo. You need to do a lot of research. Don't just bite everything. Get multiple opinions on that. But they also have changed quite a bit in years. My sister just had to have a course of chemotherapy. She's sadly got colorectal, and she took a little bit of chemo but refused surgery and tried to do it on her own holistically. And now it's metastasized in 3 or 4 places. And she's finally going to Mayo Clinic, which is, to me, the only place I would also go if I had to be treated. So so that's the deal with cancer. prevention, yeah, the drugs are harmful, but the body can regenerate. You can, another thing, if you're active, well, I'm not even going to go there because I had some nastiness earlier on X. But what are my thoughts on the new cures for cancer and the slow drip? So that's it. My thoughts are, anytime that you screw with the body, expect the body to have problems. There's no drug, I don't care what it is. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you when I got off on the tangent about my sister. I don't care what drug it is, it's going to have side effects. And if you think it doesn't, then they might be mild. They might be fleeting and they go away, just a little thing. But everything has side effects if you take them long enough. As far as the chemos of today, okay, they are much less debilitating because they give you adjunctive drugs. They give you something ahead of time for the nausea. My sister never lost her hair. So, and that's colorectal, which is a pretty bad one. So, you know, the side effects are much less. Don't let that scare you. But the important thing is to cut the carcinogens out of your life. To me, that's the most important thing we can do. And don't believe this crap about taking a detox and it's going to, boom, make your life better. No, it's an ongoing, nature is slow. It's an ongoing process and you have to connect with it. And you have to treat it right. You don't just take a drink that somebody sold you for $49.95 and now everything's cured. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he died from complications of stomach issues and diabetes. That's Patricia, her hubby. She lost her hubby. And it wasn't the 2 ventilators, thank God. But then he had complications and stomach issues and diabetes. You know, I'm sorry. I love you. Mary, let's see. Ex-school nurse. No kidding. That must have been wild. Okay. I woke up to the evil of the medical industrial complex during COVID. I am now proudly anti-vaccine. I'm glad for you, Mary. You're one of the few that have woken up. So I'm so glad. All right, Tahoe. Yes, she lost her person also. We've all lost so many. I lost my mom during this crap right after it. Okay, so yes, I lost my person and all of my support, and now I have cancer. He died October. This is, by the way, for Tahoe. Okay, guys. So send her some love, please. She really needs help. She's had a really, really hard time. Out of all of the stories I've heard from you guys, she's in the top 3 for sure. And that tells me she's going to evolve and come out like a phoenix, much stronger than ever before. When she gets through this, she's going to have learned a lot. So Tahoe said that she lost her person and all of her support, and now she has cancer. He died in October 2024, a very short time ago. And in shock because I had no jabs, tried so hard to take care of myself, but walking miles a day, lost everything. Yeah, I know. I told you I was living in a motorhome. Tim was living in a van when I met him, not down by the river, but he was living in a van. And he showed up on my doorstep, which was basically a motorhome because I had lost everything. You're not the first that this has happened to, Tahoe, and you're going to come back from it. I promise you, baby. You're going to come back. Just please, please, please don't give up. You got it really early. You got that cancer early. Just take the treatments and then get rid of the plastics. Start making your own food. Get into connecting with making and buying your own food. Because I've got a video. I couldn't believe this about what they do to the produce, the organic produce that we see. So I have to check that. It's on my list to examine a little deeper, but that's why I grow my stuff. Yes, Shelley, the Clean Living Lab is on there. It's in all of the videos. I have a link to subscribe to it. I only have a couple videos because I started it and then Dan died and something else happened. Oh, I tried fighting with Starlink for 3 days to get that. So I've only got a few videos up, but we're kicking now with these live streams. So just go into any of the Also, on my links, it should say it. We'll go into any of the descriptions of the videos, the newer ones, and it'll be on there. My husband was a complicated case. He was at a great hospital, MGH. Apparently he was, if they got him off of a respirator twice. Let's see, I'm trying to keep, I'm getting a little lost here, but it's, okay, let's see, Shelley, it's the clean, it's the Ex-Pharmacist, Clean Living Lab. Okay. Love to all here, see the struggles, hugging you all. You're my little empath, aren't you? You're always caring about everybody else. Let's see. Okay, Tahoe, her abusive mom accused her of lying about cancer. Said, screw it, Tahoe. You look in the mirror. You know the truth. You were clearly surrounded by people that are screwed up, okay? Don't let them screw you up anymore, sweetie. Just don't. Said that she made this all up, so it's been overwhelming praying. Let me tell you something. It's tough when it's your mother, okay? I don't want to get into stuff because I don't want to speak bad about anybody, but there was a constant struggle in my life for being the favorite of my mom and my dad. And there was always this struggle back and forth, and people said things that weren't unkind. And my mom kind of contributed to it too. She was kind of the person that, oh, woe is me, look what this one did, and look what this one did. And of course, people basically just validate her. I know it's not right. But I always stood up and said, it's not right, Mom. But not everybody does that. So I understand when it's the mother. It's the largest betrayal of all. But here's the thing. I have my daughter. She was one of the few that didn't betray me. She was scared, and she stayed away from me because she was afraid. And she didn't want to see me like that. And then Tim came into my life. So it doesn't have to be your mother. Sometimes we have parents that were really messed up and they messed us up. And it's okay. It's okay to take time away from the irritants in your life that are preventing you from being the person that you want to be. I learned that from Dr. Wayne Dyer a long time ago, that, you know, what's most important is healing yourself, keeping your own state. It's not about everybody else. I know the empaths think it is, but if we lose our own state, we can't help anybody. And Tahoe, I know in my heart that once you get your act together and get better and heal, you're going to help a lot of people. I just feel that. So the resources, call back. I know it's exhausting, sweetheart, especially being sick. It's exhausting. And I don't know, anybody have any thoughts on here? We've talked about possibly setting up a, what do you call that? A GoFundMe for you or something like that. That's not my expertise, but if anybody can figure that out, and I'm swamped with the channel, but if anybody can figure that out, I will push the heck out of it to try and get you some money to go, to get through this and get your treatment and so forth. I hope to God you have insurance. Patricia said, in the end, we really need to take our power back, and that's absolutely true. We need to stop taking the easy way out. We need to stop believing in the experts and the people in charge, the people that we trusted and relied on. And she said, Patricia says, we see the infiltration, but we need to move forward with the better knowledge. And she's right, the things we can control. Tahoe says, I saw a post from you the other day where someone mentioned Trump is not alive anymore. I've heard this before too, yeah. What are your thoughts? Thank you. How to eat well, semi-homeless, and no transportation. Got a place to grow food? Now, that's something to think about. If you have a place, but I also know there's, actually I've been there. When I was living in that motorhome, I went to these food banks. Tim and I did. We were so freaking, he was an immigrant. He couldn't work, and we wouldn't dare try to cheat the system and work under the table because we were afraid that he'd get kicked out and caught and go back, and it wasn't the right thing to do. So we were really, really broke, and we went to food banks. If you can get to the food banks, I don't know where you live or anything, there's all kinds. There's senior citizen things and so forth. What is that one that brings the food? I know you've checked a lot of them, but Don't think like that. Just think that the next day is going to get better and better and better. About Trump, so I think he's alive. I think there's multiple Trumps. I have no, and here's the thing. I don't work on supposition or rumors, okay? I've seen absolutely no evidence that he's dead. I have seen a lot of evidence that there's multiple Trumps. We were told that the one with the red tie during the campaigns, the one with the red tie and the hair slicked back and no hat, that was the real Trump. If you go back and look at videos, especially the one in Butler, open shirt with a MAGA hat, that was the imposters. Now, that's what I've always been told. I believe Trump is alive. I believe there's a possibility he was assassinated once and was brought back with a med bed. I can't validate that, but I believe it's totally possible, and I know that there's a lot of attempts that were made on him. So I think he's still around. I don't think he's everywhere. But you have to remember, too, that if he wasn't, what would be the validity of all these PACs that are going on? If it was another auto signer, it could be turned over in a second. I think he's alive. I think he's really important to this whole world. Okay, blah, 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 blah. All right, also chemtrail. Yeah, Wendy. Wendy Rock says, also chemtrails, 5G, now 6G, 2 EMFs. I have to tell you guys, when I went to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and Tim and I went and we saw these rock legends filmed in these 2 tiny little studios there. We're doing the tour, and this guy comes up to me and asks me what this is. And he asked me if it was a Coke vial. I guess people hang these things with little spoons, and I forgot all about that. This right here is what I call it's a tachyon, okay? And I also have, because I'm on the computer a lot, and metal stops that EMF from coming around you. So if I'm working on it for a really long time, I'm trying to pull away, that's the best thing. But there's also Faraday fabric. And I bought this fabric, cut a hole in the center, and I put made a little poncho for myself. Also have a hat for Tim, because he's in that truck all day long with that EMF. Cut a piece out for him to put under his cap to protect his brain from all that EMF. So you're right. And I have to tell you this, when my little baby got cancer, my little Miss Sunshine got cancer, and also when I began researching this very strange cancer that Dan got. In these cancers where we don't really know what caused them, there's a lot of research and belief that it is the electromagnetic frequencies that are doing it. So I don't think for 1 second that that's not a possibility. So you can, what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll put some Faraday fabric in there. It's the cheapest way to do it. You can spend $50, $60, $80, $90 on Faraday hats, cut a square out, stick it under your cap if you're a dude. If you're a lady and you're working on the computer and you want to avoid it, also get that router as far as you can. That's why we almost went with Starlink, because Tim wanted his drum room back. Basically, he goes to sleep at 3. He goes to sleep at 8 in the morning, and wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to work. I'm still working at 2 a.m. So on weeknights when he's got to get up at that time, he sleeps in that little in a separate little bed that we have, and it was in my studio, my art studio. And he loves being near his drums. So we wanted to move that Wi-Fi. We wanted to move him, that extra bed that we have up there when he's not able to stay with me, and put it in his drum room, which he loves, waking up to his drums. And we had to move the router. So that's why I called Starlink to begin with. As it turns out, Bluestream came. They moved the router into the garage. It's working fantabulous. My guests don't have to have it. And so you want to move, that router is really bad. It's not good at all. Don't put things in your ears. Don't use those earbuds. Don't use the virtual reality right on your brain. You know, you're right, Wendy. You're absolutely right on. I'm glad to hear that, Jeff. I'm so glad to hear that. Um, Jeff said he's good. He's been having a little bit of time, a little bit of difficulty dealing with all this too, as we all are. We're all trying to make sense of it all. Let's see. So Tahoe said she studied and watched about ivermectin pills and fenbendazole for years, but no idea who can help me with this, and trusted place to get how much I need, and a doctor to follow up and blood work and anything else. Surgeon office calling. I have not called them back yet. No Mayo Clinic around me. Okay. So here's the deal. I can only tell you experience on multiple levels, okay? And research that I've done. Ivermectin and fenbendazole have promise for cancers. Like anything, like an antibiotic, that's the easiest one for people to relate to. Just like an antibiotic, right? There's no one antibiotic that hits every bacteria that you might be infected with. Just like there's not one fenbendazole or anthelmintic or ivermectin that's going to hit every cancer. It's just not how it works. They work on special mechanisms and lock and key mechanisms in the body. It's just fascinating. So here's the deal. It shows, and I did a video on the ivermectin, and I put a note for somebody else too in one of the things. I'm sorry, I do so much research sometimes when I answer comments, and I try to. That's another thing, guys. I'm using the posts again a lot more, so please go to there, interact. We can talk when we're not talking live. But ivermectin and fenbendazole, they show promise for some cancers, not all. We'd have to do some research to see if there's any studies on what you specifically have, because I wouldn't take it, and here's why. Well, first of all, my sister tried it desperately. It didn't work, okay? Secondly, when my Miss Tilly, her chemo stopped responding, I put her on first ivermectin and then fenbendazole. The ivermectin caused neurological problems, and you can go into convulsions or stuff if you don't get the dose right. And so that's why I'm not big on trying to use medicines that are intended for a 1,000-pound animal. Okay. It's not, it doesn't matter if it's an animal, human drug so much, but it's how concentrated it is. And these drugs are not free of side effects. If you go to an alternative doctor, you might get somebody to do it. Before you throw that into the mix, though, sweetie, first just get it knocked out of you with whatever the chemos they are. Get 2 or 3 people, if you can, to give you. Mayo has a place where you can actually park motorhomes, and I know your situation is difficult, isn't it? Because of the money situation, but they do have a number of them. So double check. It might be for us. When my dad had cancer, it was 5 hours away. It was a drive in the car. We slept in the motorhome one time, and then we got a cheap. They have people. There's hotels around Mayo Clinic that and motels like Red Roof Inn. They give special rates to people that are going to Mayo. So it's a whole complex of I call it the Disney World of cancer. If it's all possible, I recommend anybody that's suffering right now and being threatened to go there. So let's see. So that's the deal with the ivermectin, fenbendazole. Use the tried and true, what we know works first. Ivermectin, fenbendazole, veterinary medicine is regulated by FDA. So it's big pharma that's making that stuff. Even though it's for horses, cows, whatever, it doesn't matter. Dogs, big pharma is manufacturing that stuff. So you're trying to get out of big pharma. You're going to big pharma, but you want to take drugs. They're not you, please understand, but people in general. But they still want to take drugs. They're trying to get away from big pharma. So, I'm not big on using it unless it's a desperation situation. And then if that occurs, I don't think you have to get to that point. I think there's chemo that will knock this stuff out of you, and then you start taking care of your body and rebuilding your cells, get your mind in order, get your life back in order. And I don't think that you need to go that route yet. Let's put it that way. Let's see. I'm getting in. I agree. Side effects on all drugs. I think that aided in his death. That's Patricia and her husband's death. Yeah, it always does. I'd have people come in. Here's an example. My ex-husband was on a boatload, and this has happened 3 times. My dad was carried into my home because he was non-respondent. I went through his drugs. He was on like 16 drugs. I don't know, a lot of drugs in the teens for sure. And my family drug him in, and I said, look, guys, to all the family, I said, if you want me to do this, you've got to leave me alone, and you got to not second guess me, not start telling me what to do. Let me deal with it. We removed all of his drugs except one beta blocker that was not able to be done, but we did work with his cardiologist. And I told the cardiologist, we're removing this stuff. It was unbelievable. The response of how within days he was so much better, and for years just got better taking him off the drugs. Second one is my ex-husband. We remained friends. I was with him on the day he died, and I was the only one there. Everybody else had gone for food. So he was a very good friend. I loved him very much. And his family, he was again non-respondent from all the drugs. He was a severe diabetic, and his family put him in hospice. As soon as he got into hospice, what do? They cut the drugs all off, right? They cut the drugs except for comfort measures to dope you up. So they cut all. That was my daughter just telling me she made her destination. So they cut all his drugs off in hospice. He woke up and he said, "Get me the heck out of here." And he was severely ill. He had kidney failure, but he lived another 1.5 years. So I'm just saying, yeah, you're right. Okay. 15 meds right there and 2 insulins. That was the problem, baby. Hugs, stay strong, stay safe. Patricia, you're the best. Thank you, Shelley, for talking to Tahoe and sending her your love. Wendy, thank all of you guys. You're the best. Okay. Wendy, here's a good story. She recovered from cancer all naturally over 30 years ago. It's all important to release any anger and negativity. Exactly. It takes work, prayer, and meditation were key factors in my healing. There you go. The first thing we did with my dad is when he got diagnosed is we went out, and at that time they had Blockbuster, and I rented a dozen comedy movies for every single day, and I forced him to listen. I forced him, and my family told me I was being so terrible. I forced him to go onto a healthy diet. So it can be done. And but again, 30 years ago, Wendy, we were dealing with different stuff. Okay. The chemo was much worse, was scarier and more harmful, but also the cancers were much more forgiving. I believe these cancers have been pumped up, robo cancers, so to speak, in many ways. Okay, so, but I'm so thankful that you cured it. Patricia, no one is perfect. We need to protect ourselves first in order to go forward. Yep. Gift Send Go is a better place to send us for help than GoFundMe. Thank you, Shelley. Can anybody help Tahoe set anything up? I know it's a lot, and you don't know her, but if you can, like I said, she's been with me for a long time, just like Mac. So if anybody can do it, let's set this up. And then Patricia says, I agree, we have the power, we're worthy, and we are the one, have no fear. I think our commander-in-chief is alive too. So do I, Patricia. Thank you so much for the love, everyone. Tahoe's receiving your love, guys. Tahoe, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to just suck in, imagine, and I know this sounds whacked and crazy, but this is how energy goes. A lot of people are sending you love right now. Just close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that love is penetrating you. All of that healing energy is penetrating you, and it's circling around whatever ailments, wherever that cancer is, and the cancer can't fight it. Imagine it. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. See this stuff, because what you can conceive, you can achieve. This is the power of manifestation. It's not easy, guys. It's not easy. And I don't say to count on it 100%, because if Dan couldn't do it with his crystals and the advice he had from Jen Han, of course, his was very aggressive. That's a whole nother thing. Once he got that cancer, it was pretty much not a good prognosis at all. Okay, I haven't heard anything about Venezuela since Maduro's capture. Have you? No, not a thing. In fact, I don't know. I did see some memes going around that Il Donaldo Trumpo posted, and Maduro was trying to be his friend, kissing up to him. He must have said something. You know how he is. He must have said something somewhat flattering and about Maduro, or somewhat positive. And the meme creators got on and started passing something around that now they're real good friends. But no, I haven't. That's a good question. We'll have to check on that. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you said that, Patricia, because another thing you can do for the magnetic frequencies, and keep this in mind. Hi, how you doing, Vinu? I'm so glad to see you. I'm so sad we didn't meet at Ex-Pharmacon, but another time we will. I'm still working on all that stuff. But and IBD, thank you. IBD's here too. So as far as protecting ourselves, another thing you can do, guys, is you can do just like I just mentioned to Tahoe, that we can close our eyes and we can will a protective shield around us. And I do this often, and you have to renew it, okay? Because it's not a physical shield. It's an energetic one. And if your energy gets to a point where it degrades, like, man, I felt like somebody kicked the crap out of me on Sunday. I lost everything because I never expected it to be Dan, to be honest with you. I thought they've been trying a long time to harm Elena. And I thought that was her, but she is pretty well protected. I never thought it would be Dan. And it knocked the hell out of me, because I thought he was my go-to on the extraterrestrials and on the med beds and everything. Dan was my go-to. And I've lost that. And I'm flying solo now on this. And I'm banking on him connecting to me on a different level, now on an unseen level, and inspiring me. But our frequency shields break down just like anything else. So renew it. Close your eyes. Put a shield around you. It's pushing everything away from you. It's impenetrable. There's no pores. Nothing can get in. The energy can't get in, and it's pushing back as hard as it can. And then just give yourself a few seconds to solidify that thought in your mind. Imagine that shield, however distance you want from it. I like it close myself. And it travels with you. And it's a plasma, and it morphs, and it goes with every movement of yours. And so it is. And renew it every now and then. I do it. And that's how I keep up my frequencies. And it's been working really well so far. But also you can use the Faraday stuff. That works really good. You can use a nice little tachyon necklace. Or to be honest with you, this is more of an energy generator. But any metal necklace, any metal stops the EMF. So, you know, wear a metal armor, whatever. But that metal, that's what the Faraday fabric is made out of. If you're a sewer, buy this fabric and line some clothing with it. Line a vest with it, if you're on the computer or whatever. So the Faraday, I got to remember to do that. Let me jot that down real quick, guys. I have a note here. Faraday and Tachyon. Anything else I need to put some links with? You tell me. Move the Wi-Fi, move it like as far as you can get it, Patricia. IBD. Thank you, IBD. I appreciate you guys, every one of you. Okay, and then let's see. It's Patricia. Wendy said I was so fortunate to have the right person to walk me through it step by step, and that's what you need. You can't just like the body is so complex. There's so much information about it, and he graduated about 3 years ago. I wonder what he graduated from. Oh, he graduated. I'm sorry, you lost him. Okay. So she had somebody to help her. There's so much information out there that is disinformation, misinformation. Everybody knows everything in this world. And so you do need somebody to guide you through it. And the problem is that Medicare, Medicaid, insurance companies rarely pay for alternative physicians. They want somebody that's going to just use the standard medicines because it's all part of the matrix. They all work together. The insurance companies will only pay these people because these people give them this particular benefit, or whoever funds these companies, all of the politicians involved. It's so dirty, it's ridiculous. So I'm sorry that you lost him, Wendy. I really am. But sometimes they say people come into our life for a season, a reason. He came for a reason. He guided you through probably one of the most disabling things that you've ever been through. So he was there with you for a reason. Let's see. Patricia says, God, Source, the Holy Spirit gives us what we need at the right time. We need to receive it. You're so right. And see, I've been doing energy work my whole life. 30s, when I got out of college, and I used to meditate. I was everything. I was Buddhist. I even read Kabbalah once, but I never said I was committed to it. But I've done a lot of that stuff. But the thing that actually taught me energy exchange was Tai Chi. And it really connected me. That's when I learned to feel the tingling. I could actually feel the energy. I can feel it now to this day. I can put my hands here and I can feel that electromagnetic energy bouncing between my hands. And you can too. So, suit of armor. That's how I look at it. And you're right, Dan. Quantum physics does prove much of the esoteric teachings. You're so right. And I don't know if you guys have gotten it, but this is what got me demonetized. The work that I did on the declassified gateway experience documents that came from the Army. There was a lot in there about the nature of reality, about the holographic need. The Army declassified this, and nobody knows it, about the holographic nature of reality. And the Army knows it, and they want us in this physical place, 3D, completely isolated from what we can't see. And quantum physics, you're absolutely right, is the core. For those that don't know, quantum means at the smallest, tiniest, most basic unit of life, the energy. And so the quantum physics explains how it happens, but it's not freestanding. Let's put it that way. So when I did that Gateway Experience series, they bumped me right off because it hit me when I started looking at that. And Dan confirmed that the beds work on a scan of the body and a taking the absolute pristine, most optimal, let's put it that way, the optimal form of your DNA in the various parts of your body, and it projects that blueprint down on you. So basically, you get to create a new body with different points in time when everything was at its optimal. That might be even back to conception, is what we have been told. It might have been while you were in the womb, and it might have been that point of conception where they say you got some kind of mutant gene or something. So that's how the beds work. Well, when I started doing this homework into this gateway process, I learned that it's all done by the brain. When everything in that paper, there's something that the brain does called frequency following. And that is the premise of the med beds. They project a frequency on us. In addition to other things, there's other things but they project a dominant frequency on us. So when people say, "Oh, do I have to know, Do I have to be prepared? Yeah. Let's just put it this way. Everybody's going to receive the dominant frequency. Now, if your body can come into what we call a coherent state, which is where both sides of the brain are equally operating, the right and the left lobes are equally, that's called coherence. That's when the waves are perfectly balanced, okay? And that's what it takes to heal. So these frequencies that you're bombarded with, and I don't know, we may not even hear these frequencies, but what they do is they are dominant, and your brain then follows that through the frequency following mechanism in our brain. If you're practiced at it, if you've meditated, if you're practiced at coherence, balancing those two lobes of your brain, it will be easier, and you will maintain that state of coherence for a longer period for more effective treatment, if that is clear. I don't know. I want to get into that a lot for you guys, and let's research that a lot more, because it wasn't only that. It's also a foaming mechanism, they call it, in the brain with plasma that fills in blanks and stuff. There was a lot. We want to revisit that. Hi, Mr. Tempo. How you doing? You got your beautiful sister with you. Let's see. Quantum physics. Yes, it proves the esoteric stuff. Quantum physics. Okay. So how are we doing here, guys? You want to talk some more? I'm good. Tim's not home. He's going to drum. Is tonight Friday? Yes. Tonight's Friday. It's his drumming night. So when he doesn't start yet, but he usually comes in, and by 7 or 8 he's drumming. And I have to we weren't able to soundproof his drum room, and so I have this blaring drumming going on. But it only reminds me that it's my man doing what he does and absolutely loving it. It really, really helps him. Johnny, that's right. I don't say names unless you guys do. So I'm sad that Loyal One wasn't here. He's been kind of, I hope he's okay. I worry about him a little bit. He's popped up a couple times, but haven't seen him in a while. So anyway, so what do you guys think? Any more questions? Drop them down now if you want to talk about something else. I'm good if you're good. Everything has batteries, it looks like. I can't believe we did this, and I was on time. This is amazing. I'm good. I'm loving this. You know, the things we fear the most sometimes turn out to be exactly what we needed. And I'm good. I haven't had enough at all. I'll tell you this. I started out, I had my the Clean Living Lab studio set up, which basically I was going to do my hydroponics today, and I was going to set it up, and I was doing a thing about the different types of basil, and I had the camera set up outside with the with all my food that I'm growing behind me as a backdrop. And thank heaven I went to double check before I went live, because I couldn't see a darn thing on the computer. The light was so bright that I couldn't see anything. So I moved inside to the dining room, and it worked out great. I can't believe I got it. It's working. I'm good with it. All right. So I know you guys are so, I go online, and it's funny because I don't see a lot of podcasters. I don't watch them because I don't want to be influenced by mis or disinformation. My stuff, all of my stuff comes out. I'll hear something, and Mac, if Mac's still here, yes, I'm working on your project that you had for me, as well as some others. Let me give you if I can find it. Let me give you, I had it, but I had to close it. I'll just give you a little heads up on what I'm working on right now, if I can find it. Applications, Notion, there you go. I'm learning new softwares, new things. It's kind of really great. All right, so tomorrow, or this weekend, let's say, is Trump's Tesla connection. Some of you might know it, but Tesla's records of his work were reviewed by people in Trump's family, and some of them are missing. So that video is done. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but that's done. And that will be out this weekend. Another one that I'm working on is the deal with the devil. It's fascinated me. The deal with the devil has fascinated me for years because I'm thinking, what could induce people to do the horrible, and I mean unspeakable things that they do? 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, I was watching a lot of people, Kathy O'Brien and so forth. They've been on a long time with their stories. And there was a guy, Paul Bernardi. I don't know if any of you guys know him, but he told a story. I'm not saying it's true, censors. I'm not saying it's true. It's not true. I'm saying the story that he told. And this guy, when he spoke of it, do you ever see somebody when they're so messed up and traumatized that every nerve in their body is jumping all the time? Well, that's what was happening with this Paul. He spoke of a time when he was picked up in a helicopter, and there were 3 boys, and they went to this place. He couldn't say, he didn't know where it was because they were blindfolded and stuff. But he did recognize somebody, and he named that somebody. And this will tell you how long this crap's been going on. Bob Hope was part of it. Okay, remember Bob Hope? He mentioned Bob Hope as part of it. I'm not going to say he was part of it. He allegedly was part of it. And Paul talked about how there were 3 boys. Of course, they had to do all the deviant sex stuff first. But then they were forced to kill one of the boys that they had all been traumatized together. And that's the kind of stuff that you do for the deals and so forth. Paul didn't. He was just a victim. But he was forced to kill somebody. And that's how it works. And some people, you have to put a gun to their head to make them do that kind of crap. Another person, you just give them fame and fortune and they'll do that stuff. You give them a $2 million contract and you'll see how quick some of them will move. So, so that I'm going to talk about the deal with the devil. I have someone who told me about the deal. They actually had a relative. They are married to Illuminati family. They had a relative, and this was a personal conversation. I'm not going to name the person, but it was an Epstein victim. And she's now flipped. She's so angry. She's buying the whole Trump isn't doing anything. And she's moving to a lot of narratives. But she told me something about what happens with this deal with the devil. So that's one coming up this week about the deal with the devil. It's dark, but I think it's important to know it, to understand how this all went down. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, so Wendy, I'm so glad you're, this is from Shelley again. I've watched so many of your videos and always wish you could meet like this. Isn't it wonderful, Shelley? I've been so afraid, and I just have to trust. I have to trust in the universe, and it's always guided me well. It's made my life more fulfilling than I ever dreamed it could be. And yep, had the ups and downs like everybody else, but I think this is really a great thing. I'm thinking about doing it. You guys tell me what you think. I'm thinking about doing it twice a week. You think that's too much? Will we have enough to talk about? So I'm thinking about doing it twice a week. This worked out good at 4 on Friday. And I'm thinking maybe I had a lot of people. Let me check real quick. I had a lot of people on the little survey that I put. Don't forget to go to the, you know, like here's somebody, some guy. 20 years in prison is the big thing without Anthony Fauci. Nothing but clickbait. Nothing has happened with Fauci yet. You know, I mean, we'll know it when it does. So you got to just watch that clickbait. And so what was I looking at? I was looking at Times. Oh, Times. I have to go back to the other thing, the channel there, and look at the posts. Posts. Okay, so Let's go with the group. Everybody, 47% like 2 p.m. So we're going to do Fridays at 4 p.m. and Tuesday at 2 p.m. And let me know if that works with you guys. Do you think we'll have enough to blab about? As you can see, I'm a blabber. So we'll do it twice a week and see how that goes, because as Wendy said, I think it was Wendy here, Shelley, as Shelley said, this is great. Shelley was a CNA for 30 years, and her eyes are wide open. So a CNA is a certified nursing assistant. She is the one that, in my opinion, in the medical field got the crappiest work and the least recognition and money for it. And that's a sad thing. Nurses now, if you're an RN or an ARNP, man, I mean, you're gold. But the CNNs do all the crap work, and they don't get the recognition from the people. They don't ever get a hug. They don't ever get a thank you. And I'm saying right now, Shelley, thank you, because not a lot of people could do what you do or did with the compassion that you had to have to do that kind of work. Okay, yes, Patricia heard the same about the deal. Cryptids and other things, yeah. I believe the darkness controlled the collective consciousness to manifest even monster hurricanes. Well, the monster hurricanes, I believe, are done by man, not the dark forces. I believe it's done by man. I've seen hurricanes start in a jar, how they do it. We know that HARP has been there. It's silly to think that they set up that whole HARP thing, and then when they moved it to whatever university they moved it to, the control of those antennas to there, it's silly to think that they stopped that technology. I see it. When I complained about the mosquitoes, I was all over X. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Tim and I were going to breakfast one morning, and this guy was covered in a net suit. It looked like a beekeeper suit, taking his morning walk. And I said, I got to get a picture of this guy, because the mosquitoes were to the point that you couldn't go outside. Gates released GMO mosquitoes down in the Everglades. I'm not far. I'm up a little bit, but not real far. The mosquitoes are the worst thing I've ever seen in the last 2 years. And now Google. What the hell is Google releasing? What are they doing? They're releasing more GMO monsters. So I don't think that the weather is controlled by the dark ones. I think it's mankind that's doing that. That are being paid to do it by the dark ones. And it's kind of funny, because there's lots, when we get into that deal with the devil, a lot of the dark ones that we talk about, the politicians, maybe even Soros if he is human, we don't know. Maybe Gates if he's human, we don't know. But a lot of these people also could have made the deal with the devil. And when you look at some of these celebrities that speak about actually being taken over by this energy, so, at some point, yes, when you make the deal, sometimes you just turn it, like we might say, people might say, you turn it over to God. These people turn it over to Satan. They call him Lucifer. But it's dark light, bad energy, good energy, all that stuff. So the darkness does control the collective consciousness, but it doesn't have to. And that's why we're going through this process right now, Dan, is that the way they control the collective consciousness is through programming. Everything you do is programming. Everything you hear is programming. There's frequencies that you could walk out your door, and there's frequencies. So once we get this and we don't give in to these negative frequencies, and we bring our vibrations up, which creates that shield around us, we become somewhat immune. And that's what's happening. People are waking up and they're saying, this is BS. I am not, look how they lied to me. I woke up. And they don't listen anymore to the programming. And then there's people like us that tell them how they're being programmed, what not to look for, what there's a lot of podcasts out there that are programming you, whether you realize it or not. And they may be your very best friends. They may be people that were, or not your best friends necessarily, but they might be somebody that you trust, that you would trust with everything, with your health, everything. There's a lot of them out there that are on the dark side, even though they're MAGA, and even though they are appalled by everything that's going on. They're kind of like sleeper cells waiting in line, TMZ, for the next Nancy Guthrie to come along, for the next horror to come along, for them to sensationalize it for you. So remember that part of it. Yeah, they are in our collective conscious, but the collective is waking up. Good point. Okay, let's see. Twice a week is great. Good. I'm glad to hear that. This was great. I really look forward to the next one. I have to sign up. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with us and your time. I appreciate it. We can always catch a rerun. Yes, you can. Twice is great. Good. Like that, Shelley. The Wendy Rock, best wishes. You guys are talking to each other. We're being a community. We're sharing our love with each other. This is what it really takes. Thank you, Shelley. Grateful for your service. It's what I do. It's what I was born to do. We'll get into the whole, if I even know who I am at this point, because I have no memory of my childhood. I was born on an army base and put with a bunch of nuns for a very long time. And then after that all happened, my memory came back. I can remember the years after that. So I don't even know who I am, to be honest with you, but I just know that this is something I have to do. Yes, if it's fearful based, gaslighting us, stay away. We need positive people. And like somebody said up there, you're absolutely right. It's that positive vibration that we have to protect ourselves against the dark. And it's weird. It's quantum physics, guys. Quantum physics is energy, okay? And it explains all of this esoteric stuff that we've been hearing for so long, that our ancestors knew, that helped them build pyramids, okay? It's all part of it. And there's more, I believe there's more going on in the unseen realm, much more than there is here, that's important to us. Let's put it that way. All right, so we're all pieces of we are pieces of a magnificent puzzle. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Each and every one of us then are an important component, and we're not isolated on this world. Even if we have nobody, like Tahoe said, even if we have nobody, we are part of a biosystem, and even bigger, an energetic system that interacts with us, that we're an integral part. It's a symbiotic thing. That universe needs us and we need it. That energy of the collective needs us and we need that energy also from the galactic. So, we are part of a puzzle. I love the Zen thing. Let me get into my old Zen background, okay? Of I am you and you are me. This is actually the Beatles, Cuckoo Kajoo, right? Remember that one? So, yeah, you're right. We are all part of this puzzle and we are all connected, every one of us. That stream of energy that connects every one of us to everything. Shelley? It was, Patricia, it was an honor to be there for everyone I've cared for. That's what we need. We get these lunatics on all over, and I think a lot of this is AI lies and all this stuff too. I know it is because I check every one of them. But you get these lunatics on there about a nurse in her uniform at work saying if a MAGA person comes in there, this is what she's going to do to them. Gosh, we got every time I tag them and I put Department of Health, DOJ, and FBI every time, and they get busted. Not necessarily by me, because lots of people do that. But you're absolutely right. People like Shelley are a rare entity, and let me tell you, that work. That's why I became a pharmacist, because I didn't have the stomach to do what you did, Shelley. And I admire people. Same with my technicians. They did the heavy lifting, and I was nothing without them. And I realized it. I bought them gifts. I did everything I possibly could and told them every single day how much I appreciated them. Grateful love to all on our journey. It's bittersweet at times. Stay positive, stay strong. See, now Shelly says she was called to that. And I think you were too, Shelly. I think you were too, because and now that you're retired, you're a healer, okay? You're a healer. I don't know if you're an empath or not. I know Patricia is an empath, a big one, and she's overcoming a lot of that to take care of herself. But you may be an empath also, but just because you're retired doesn't mean you can't help on another level. So do what you can. Any one of you guys, if you decide that you want to, start a channel or whatever, this is how we grow. The only person that I ever really coordinated with, I have people all the time on X asking me to do pods for them and podcasts for them and stuff. And of course I was scared to do them because of this, and I had never done it. But I'm very particular about who I listen to. And Dan was the only one that I ever collaborated on one, because I trusted him implicitly. He guided me, and he was always my guide, and I miss him so much. Okay. So Tuesday, let's do Tuesday. What time did we say? Was it 2? Remind me. 2 p.m. Tuesday. And I'll put this up on the board as well, on the community board. We can talk back and forth a little more. Again, it's getting more active. I'll get to some lives also on the Clean Living channel, because I think, and another thing, tell me what you think. I don't know, but it's down the road because I have to figure this out. But I'm trying to find a way to do, there's Wolfie looking for daddy. I'm trying to think of a way to put pictures up there of you guys, if you guys want to go on screen. I don't know if it's necessary, and it's nothing that I can do right away, because it's a whole nother mess to figure that out. But that would be kind of cool if we could see each other's faces too, wouldn't it? Den has closed this out beautifully. Love and light to all. I love all of you guys. It's amazing how this worked. I'm so grateful and thankful to you guys, and I will see you Tuesday live again at 2 p.m. Love you. Bye, guys. Now I have to go to this button. Love, grateful, and blessed. Love you too, Patricia. You know that. Shelly, love you too. This was great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your energy. Okay, so I had, you wouldn't believe what I went through to do this thing. I had AI back and forth, and Gemini was beautiful. It doesn't cut you off right when you're in the middle of something and say, you timed out, you got to wait till tomorrow to start this. So anyway, there's an end stream button. I'm going to hit that now. I love you guys, and stay positive, stay strong, grateful and blessed. Love you all. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend, guys.